Springboks versus England prediction and also breaking down the game. Let's have a bit of a look. All right, we're looking at England, South Africa playing at Twickenham with Andrew Brace as the referee. I mean, it's mostly an Irish crew in the referees and all that. We'll be looking, so Ellis Genji at the front, Jamie George, Will Stewart in the front row. In the South African side, you got Ox and Che, Bongi Munambe, and Wilco Lowe coming into the team. He's been a prospect that South Africa's been looking at for a while to get into the program. They realize Malharaba's old, Kitsoff is getting old as well. You also look at Vincent Koch, he's old as well. Then Steenekamp is, I think, about 27, 28. So need to get some new kind of props in there. So well done to Wilco. Good on him. I think he'll go well. Then you got Itoji and George Martin in the second row with Etzebeth and Archies Neyman. The first time they're actually starting together in the second row. I mean, giants, man, giants. So it's a big pack South Africa's chosen. Then you got Chandler Cunningham himself, who I quite rate as a player. He's definitely a traditional six. He's a good tackler and a good ball runner, and that's what you want. I guess the way that Jerry Collins used to play, kind of intimidate teams on defense and also be able to run over them at the same time. But obviously doesn't have that flair, if you know what I mean. Then you got Sam Underhill coming in. Could be a good pick, could be a bad pick. I mean, he brings aggressiveness, he brings size. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes, but he is known to give up a few penalties. And you got Ben Earl, who's always solid at the back. On the South African side, you got Siya Kolisi at 6, Pieter Steph de Toy at 7, and Jasper Visa at number 8. So I just want to touch on Ox and Chair, who's in. A few people throwing his name around now to be the Rugby Player of the Year, and there's obviously, he's obviously got to deal with the Frenchman himself, Antoine Dupont. But yeah, it just frustrates me that Dupont never travels. He never travels outside of his country nearly, or outside Europe, definitely not outside Europe, to go and play anymore at all. He never goes on the tours, so I guess we'll have to see. And you got Jasper Visa, like I said, at the back, and I really enjoy the way he plays. Just a good ball runner. Him and Ben Earl are very similar. They both can steal a ball, both solid in the run, so it's big forward packs going up against each other, but it's obviously on the bench where kind of South Africa has the upper hand. Then you got Jack van Poortvliet. Yet again, he is a kicking 9. And then we got Grant Williams on the other side. So, yeah, let's have a quick look at these backs and we'll break it down. You got Marcus Smith at 10, Ollie Slightholme, who seems to be a good little gun. He's been knocking on the door for a while at 11, Henry Slade at 12, Ollie Lawrence at 13, Tommy Freeman on the right wing, and Freddie Stewart at fullback, who can, I guess, diffuse those bombs from the box. You got Mani Lebok at 10, Kurt Lee Aronson in the left wing, Damien De Allende and Jesse Creel, Cheslin Colby at 14, and Afelele Fassi at the back. So I think, to me, this is pretty much nearly the top team apart from injuries for the backs for South Africa. Obviously, Ngomazulu would come in at 10 for my liking, Sasha, instead of Lebok, just purely for the goal kicking point of view. I mean, if Mani can, fix and get his confidence back on the goal kicking end, he'd be fighting right up there for the top 10. I think Pollard is happy to obviously take the mentor role and be that safety net. So if something goes wrong, he comes on and he can just win the game like he did against England in the semi-final. And you can see here, so be a good, very, very good battle in the centre field, I think, with Damien back as well. And Fassi and Stewart, I mean, both great under the high ball. Be interesting to see. Both of them are not very good defenders, obviously, but it'll be interesting to see how they go. Then on the bench, so you got Luke Cowan-Dickey, Finn Baxter, and Dan Cole, Malcolm Marks, Gerard Steenekamp, and Vincent Koch. So it's the front row replacements. See, that's the problem for me for England. Your starting front row is solid. They hold up very well, but after about 60 minutes, obviously, those big boys are not made for that anymore. It's not like back in the day where one prop was expected to play a whole game sort of thing. Now they're made to play 50, 60 minutes explosively, max. And that's where Finn Baxter and Dan Cole are going to struggle when, Steenekamp and Vincent Koch come on. Then you got Nick Eswekwe and Elrich Lowe. You got Alex Dombrandt. You got Quagga Smith, Harry Randall, George Ford, Tom Rubach, Kobus Reinach, Andre Pollard, and Lucanio Arm on the bench. So going with the 5-3 split. And, people are always throwing around that, they should bring it back to 7 subs again, that sort of thing. But because they just get annoyed at how, obviously, the teams that have a lot of depth, they can bring those substitutions on and make that impact. Where I'm happy, like I've said, I've played rugby my whole life for club and a little bit of rep when I was younger, but I would never complain. I think the more people you involve on game day, the better. It's not any more expected, the 15 at start is going to finish. I think it gives those extra players on the fringe experience, gives them game time. Obviously there's some positions that are expected to play the whole game, like the centers usually, wingers, fullback or 10s, etc. So I think it's a good thing. I think it also gives people rest. It prevents big injuries like there used to be. So in general, I think it's just a better spectacle for the game, bringing those fresh people on and really showcasing the depth of your country, in my opinion anyway. I mean, let me know below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let's go through the last few results here for England. So England, last game, lost to Australia right at the end of the game there, 42-37. Same thing against New Zealand. Couldn't hold on in the last 10 minutes and lost 24-22 after being up by 8. Australia obviously I guess they swapped leads in the last 10 minutes. And then the last test before was the test tour in New Zealand, where they lost 24-17 in Eden Park, which was the second game. And they lost 16-15 in Dunedin, where I think they should have probably won that game, to be honest. They looked like the better team, and I think they maybe should have won. But they just, yet again, just couldn't finish the game. It's not blowouts, it's all close games. So I don't think, Borthwick has got something to worry about, I think. The only time, I guess, the media in England are very, very on your neck. So I think if they lose big against South Africa, then there might be a worry. The pressure will build, and then Six Nations will really tell. But in general, I think he's done a great job. Look at that. In the Six Nations, lost 33-31 against against France, sorry. Just 2 points. They beat Ireland. This is when Ireland was, still the juggernaut, not kind of rusty like they are now. Lost to Scotland, which was a bad result, but Scotland's not bad. Beat Wales 16-14 only, and beat Italy 27-24. So they're really, look at that, even going back to the World Cup, beat Argentina for third place 26-23, lost to South Africa 16-15 in the semi, beat Fiji 30-24 in the quarter, beat Samoa 18-17 in the group stage. So very close games, I feel sorry for the English fans, if you are listening, to have all those close games. It'll be putting some grey hairs in my hair, I think, for sure. Now, another one I want to show you is the South African results recently. You can see here, beat Scotland 32-15. I think a 25-15 scoreline would have been much more suffice. That last try at the end, but they still scored it. Beat Argentina 48-7, lost to Argentina 29-28, where Mani Libbok missed the pretty much game-winning kick. South Africa and then New Zealand, so 18-12 beat them, and 31-27 with a comeback victory in the last 15-20 minutes. Beat Australia 30-12 and 33-7. Played Portugal early in the year 64-21, and then lost to Ireland 25-24, and beat them 27-20 as well before that. So it's very, yet again, fairly close games against a good opposition, but at least a bit of breathing room. So prediction for this game. Let me know below what you think. But in general, I think with South Africa against England, it's usually never a hiding. It's never usually a run over. I think South Africa will pull away again at the end with the bench. I think it'll be a tight game going into the half. I think England could even lead at the half, to be honest. They are a good first half team, it seems, and a good, third quarter team. So I think South Africa really pull away after about 55 minutes. I think South Africa win by about 10 to 12 points. And I'm just predicting maybe a final score of, 27-17 or 30-20, something around that range. It won't be a very low scoring game. I think there'll be a few penalties, which kind of will keep the score keep ticking over. I think Mahoney might miss a couple kicks too, so I think they're going to go for the corner. And that's where I think the difference might be, is they might have a bit more of attacking mindset. But if there's a bit of rain around, Mahoney's not the greatest in the rain, so it can draw it even closer again. And I think England is a little bit more better in the rain, as it showed in the World Cup semi-final, keeping it that close and only South Africa winning it in the last couple of minutes. So let me know your predictions down below. I do predict also the man of the matches for me would be probably Archie Snyman or Pieter Steph du Toit for South Africa. I think Archie might actually get a bit of minutes in this game, seeing as they don't really have a second rower on the bench. Obviously with Pieter Steph, who can cover as well, who might move into the second row to replace Archie or Eben, depending on Rusty's choice. And Pieter Steph, and that dude is just a workhorse. He's just constant, never stops. I think for England, it'll be Maro Itoje. I think he'll have a big game. He knows whenever he plays against Etzebeth and Archie Snyman, he's got a lift. And I think he will. And I think another guy who will, yet again, I guess, light up the scoreboard if they do score, is Slight Home. He made a really good impact, and I think he'll be a good player again. So those two are to watch for the English side, and obviously just the forwards for South Africa. I think they'll grind it out, and then hopefully if it's dry weather, they'll be able to use the ball on the outside and get around. Let me know what you think below, and I'll get into the next one.